and yeah, various choirs and that. Again, it was a song that in the days gone by that school choirs would sing at faces.
Well, I suppose it would be remiss of me if I didn't bring up a Christy classic called Lizzy, because again, it's just poetry in motion, really, isn't it? And you know, I haven't spent summers in Lizzy and been there on the holidays, and not during the matchmaking festival or anything, but just down there as a seaside resort or a holiday, you know, going down with family and as a child. The songs, the words, just the whole, everything about the song, and it just sounds like it just really encapsulates the fun times. It's also kind of a historical sort of montage of things that were happening around those times in Ireland. And I thought another song we think of at that time is, I know I digress a bit, but the Billy Joel song, We Didn't Start the Fire, was obviously mentioning historical things. Well, Lizzy did the same, in a different way, albeit, but it was the same kind of, just bringing up things that were happening in history at the time. And I think it's brilliant. It's another one. And Christy when he sings it, he just puts his absolute heart and soul into it. And I do remember before the internet, before you were able to print out lyrics, I sat down with the sleeve. We used to get, I think we'd moved on and we got a CD player, and the best thing about CDs I found whenever we got our CD player was whenever you opened the CD, there was a sleeve inside it, and if you opened it, you had a lot of times the lyrics and the words of all the songs. So whenever we got the Christy CD, that was my favourite thing to do. And I sat and I had a journal. I wish I had this much in me now, but I actually had a journal and I wrote down every single word of Lizzy so I could learn it off.
Gloria, about them. I was probably pretty young, kind of getting into the Doors and kind of exploring kind of the music of the 60s, 70s. It was kind of, I had that era of sort of rock and roll and how it was becoming just a big thing. I think I might have heard the Doors version before I heard the Van Morrison one. I don't think I realised Van Morrison was in them until afterwards. Last time I heard it was, I think it might have been in Top of the Town in Noma. There was a band playing it, played live, and that's like the kind of encore song, because it's just one of the ones that gets people going, gets people up the seat and getting singing back and forth, and good job. So definitely like them bits that are the rousing bits, like the Glorias and I like the back and forth. It's good, it's good tune for all occasions. Whenever them went over to the US in the 60s, I think, early 60s, mid 60s, they went over with the likes of Eric Burdon and the Animals and the Beatles, and as part of the invasion. And I was always a very big fan of the Doors, just for years. And I remember finding out that Jim Morrison was very much inspired by Van Morrison, which was just mad to me, because Jim Morrison's this counterculture icon. Like everything from his dad being involved in the Gulf of Tonkin incident to his life and death is just entirely related to the counterculture of the 60s and 70s, and how that was the dominant, like that's just the way America was then, and it was just iconic, and it was inspired by a mopey bastard from Belfast somewhere actually.
So my next song is Thin Lizzy, Jailbreak. I wanted to power it up a wee bit, get some rock and roll onto this list. So Thin Lizzy, Jailbreak. I actually first heard it playing Grand Theft Auto 4, would you believe? I'd never actually heard the song before. Thin Lizzy was a band that I was sort of vaguely aware of growing up as a rock music fan, but I never really gave them that much attention for whatever reason. But Metallica would always quote how much they loved them. You know, Gary Moore was a big proponent of them, obviously because he played with them. But as far as I was concerned, they were the boys at Back in Town, which was just the Gladiators tune, and I didn't really think much else of them. That's also a class tune, by the way, and it's just straight up, you know, forward to the floor rock and roll. But I think Jailbreak has a lot more invention with musicality, with the lyrics, the themes, and the guitar playing, the riffs. Just everything is a lot more vibrant, and just because Boys Are Back in Town is played to death by now, I don't really want to put it on this list. Well, I don't want to put it on this list. I will still put it on if somebody else picks it, just I won't be putting it on. It's hard to put that in context, what they were doing in the context of popular music, but you know, Dillon Lizzy was at one stage one of the hardest rapping bands you could possibly listen to, and they were just 4 lads from Dublin, and I don't think their legacy is recognised as widely as it should be. Certainly within the rock fraternity, they are revered, but beyond that, beyond Phil Lynnett's status as probably the first high-profile Black Irish person, I don't think that their artistry is given enough credence. You know, people just play Old Thin Lizzy, Boys Are Back in Town, and then just play that at the wedding, every fucking wedding. Have a deeper dive and see what else they do, because they are definitely worth it.